Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we begin, I want to promise you something. At the end of this video, I will make a sincere prayer for you, one that I hope will unlock something in your life and soothe the storm in your heart. But first, I need you to stay with me, because what I'm about to share might just be the turning point you've been praying for. And yes, it has something to do with Friday morning. There are moments in life when you feel like the world has gone silent on you. You've prayed, you've waited, you've tried to stay patient. But deep inside, you wonder if your name was ever written on the scroll of divine favor. You wonder if Allah has skipped your chapter or misplaced your blessings. And maybe worst of all, you start to believe the ones who doubted you. The ones who called you crazy for believing in what they couldn't see. But let me say this loud and clear. They won't be laughing on Friday. This is not just about a day. This is about a divine release, a shift, a sign that Allah gives, not to please your ego, but to silence every lie that was spoken over your journey. The ones who called you a dreamer, they're about to witness something real. The ones who said you're wasting your time, they're about to see the value of the time you spent in silence. You see, the quiet moments were not empty. They were loaded with preparation. Sometimes, when Allah doesn't speak, it's not because He's ignoring you. It's because He's crafting something too powerful to be rushed. And when it's finally time, oh, it's loud, and it's clear. The kind of clarity that even your enemies will admit, this wasn't luck, this wasn't you. This was something else entirely. You might have felt like you've been hidden. But being hidden isn't a punishment. It's a strategy. Do you really think the Creator of the universe would let your light go dim without a reason? You're not being overlooked. You're being preserved. Wrapped in divine protection so that when you emerge, it's not as a version of what people expected, but as the exact miracle they never saw coming. And why Friday? Because Friday is not just any day. It is the day of gathering, of blessings multiplied. It's the day the believer leans into hope again, and Allah responds with openings. But this Friday, it's different. It will mark something new. A shift that even you will feel in your chest before you open your eyes. You might wake up with an unusual sense of peace, or maybe with a sudden message, an opportunity, a turn in your story that can only be explained by one word: timing. Don't take the silence as absence. Don't take the delay as denial. You have no idea how close you are to the moment that changes everything. And when it comes, remember this: the ones who laughed at you will fall silent, not because you clap back, but because Allah claps back better. You didn't need to prove them wrong. You just needed to stay right with your Lord. He'll handle the rest. So sit tight, chosen one. This Friday, they'll see what they couldn't believe. The signs have already started. Quiet ones, subtle shifts, feelings you can't fully explain. Maybe it's been happening slowly. You feel less drawn to the things that used to distract you. The noise of others doesn't hit the same way anymore. You're more at peace in silence than in conversation. You look around and you don't quite fit anywhere. But for some strange reason, you don't mind. You've outgrown what used to hold you. And deep inside, something whispers. Something is coming. Don't brush it off. The restlessness in your spirit, that sudden pull to go deeper, to clean your space, to walk away from certain people, to let go of heavy emotions. That's not random. It's a signal. The soul always hears before the eyes can see. And you, chosen one, are hearing the vibrations of something divine approaching. It may not make sense to the people around you, but that's okay. It wasn't meant for them. Some doors don't creak before they open. They just swing wide, and only the prepared know how to walk through. You've probably noticed how some people started falling away from your life lately. Conversations ended. Circles dissolved. Messages stopped coming, let them go. That was divine subtraction. Allah removes who can't breathe at the altitude He's taking you to. Imagine trying to carry everyone to your breakthrough. It would slow you down, so instead, He clears the runway. Less crowd, more focus. Less noise, more clarity. More room for the real arrival. And here's what's even more strange, but beautiful. You feel tired, but also expectant. Like something is about to show up, but you can't predict how. You check your notifications with a little more curiosity. You wake up with an alert spirit. You feel like the universe is holding its breath and your name is on the wind. Let me tell you something bold. You're not crazy. You're aligned. Those small nudges you've been ignoring, that feeling in your chest, that peace that doesn't make sense, that's how Allah prepares the soul before He opens the sky. The Friday that's approaching is not just on a calendar, it's a date in the unseen realm. Something is scheduled to be released, a truth, a confirmation, a breakthrough that cannot be delayed one more hour. It's not about a miracle falling from the sky, it's about your spirit finally standing in sync with its own timing. And to the doubters, oh the doubters, they will be stunned. Not because you shouted louder, not because you clapped back, but because you stayed still while the earth moved in your favor. It's ironic, isn't it? The same people who said you were wasting your time will now ask for your time. The same ones who ghosted you will try to orbit around your light again. But you'll be too busy rising. Because when Allah prepares you in private, He does it so thoroughly that the public reveal doesn't shake you. It affirms you. It feels familiar because your soul rehearsed it in silence. Every tear you shed was a rehearsal. Every unanswered prayer was part of the script. And now, the scene is set. The curtain's about to rise. This is why you've been waking up at random hours. This is why your heart's been heavier, but also clearer. This is why you've been moving differently. You're not the same. Because what's coming isn't ordinary. It's tailored. It's yours. And it's about to arrive in full view of those who swore it never would. Now, let's talk about timing. The one thing we question the most, but understand the least. You prayed months ago, maybe even years. You kept asking, waiting, hoping, and somewhere along the line, you began to wonder if Allah even heard you. But here's the twist. While you were doubting the silence was building the foundation. What you didn't see was how much had to be moved behind the scenes just to prepare one answer for your life. Allah is not in a rush. He's not pressured by time. He created it. And when He holds something back from you, it's not to punish you. It's to preserve you. If you would have received it too early, it would have broken you. What you thought was rejection was actually protection. And now, the timing is beginning to align. Because Allah never delays without a purpose. And when He delivers, it's always on time and in full. Think about it. Would you hand the keys of a car to a child who can't yet see over the wheel? Of course not. You'd love them, prepare them, teach them. And only when they're ready would you hand over something that powerful. That's what divine timing is like. You weren't being ignored. You were being prepared for the weight of the thing you've been praying for. That's why some days felt like tests. Like your patience was stretched thin, like your faith was tested with silence. But now you can feel something is shifting, can't you? That's not coincidence, that's alignment. What you sowed in faith is beginning to grow in reality. It's slow at first, almost invisible. But then, boom, it arrives. And the beauty? It won't just come. It'll come in a way that makes sense of every delay. You know what's funny? Some people who gave up on you will assume you got lucky. They'll call it a stroke of fate or good fortune. But you'll know better. You'll know about the nights you stayed up with a heavy chest, the days you walked with questions nobody could answer. You'll remember all the moments you were tempted to quit but didn't. And you'll smile, not because you proved them wrong, but because Allah proved you right. And when it finally shows up, on a Friday morning no less, you'll feel something indescribable. It won't be loud. It won't come with fireworks. But it will hit deep, like a knowing, a quiet roar in your soul that says, this was worth it. And you'll understand why you had to go through every stretch, every silence, every pause. You see, the problem isn't that Allah takes too long. It's that we assume He operates on our schedule. We expect quick replies, fast results, instant blessings. But He's not a vending machine. He's a master architect. And when He builds for legacy, not for speed. So the next time you feel discouraged by the wait, remember this. A miracle that comes too early feels like a mistake. But a miracle that comes on time, it feels like a legacy. And legacy is what you were made for. Not quick moments, not temporary validation, but divine timing that elevates you beyond anything you could have scheduled. You've been staring at the clock, but Allah has been watching your heart. And now that your heart is aligned, the clock doesn't matter anymore. Because what's coming has nothing to do with time and everything to do with divine readiness. Before anything appears in your life, something has to shift inside of you. That's the part no one claps for. The inner wall, the soul detox, the painful part where you start questioning what you once settled for. That's the real transformation, when your taste changes. When what used to satisfy you feels empty, when what used to hold you up now feels like it's holding you back. And that's when Allah steps in, not with a bang but with a whisper that says, you're not meant to stay here. What if I told you that your insides have been rearranging for weeks without you realizing it? That the fatigue you've been feeling isn't burnout, it's growth. The distance you felt from people wasn't loneliness. It was separation for elevation. You see, before Allah opens the next door, He often lets the walls around you fall, not to trap you, but to rebuild you. Because the next season requires a stronger version of you. Not louder, not more successful, just purer. Chosen ones don't move the same way. You're not supposed to. While others chase noise, you crave silence. While others collect praise, you crave peace. And while the world rewards surface, your soul longs for depth. And let's be honest, depth is expensive. It'll cost you shallow friendships. It'll cost you time. It'll even cost you the comfort of who you used to be. But in return, Allah gives you what no one else can: alignment. And when your inner world aligns with His plan, your outer world has no choice but to follow. Doors open, connections appear, paths get straight. And what used to confuse you now makes perfect sense. Because Allah doesn't bless noise. He blesses clarity. And when He sees that your heart is clearer than your plans, that's when He shows up with something even better than what you prayed for. This Friday, you might not see lightning in the sky, but if you pay attention, you'll feel the shift. A lightness, a sudden calm, an invisible push towards something you didn't even know was next. Don't ignore that, because when Allah prepares your soul, He does it gently. So gently that most people miss it. But you won't. You're tuned in now. You're listening with your chest, not your ears. And that's exactly why what's coming will find you. You won't need to chase it. You'll be positioned for it, quietly, boldly, unapologetically. Because this was never about making noise, it was about becoming ready. You've waited, you've adjusted, And now you're entering the moment where the invisible becomes undeniable. What happens next won't be subtle. It won't need to be explained. When Allah decides it's time, even the ones who doubted you will be forced to see it. This isn't about revenge or validation. It's about manifestation. About a moment so precise, so tailored to your journey that it could only have come from Him. The manifestation might come through a breakthrough, a message, an opportunity that lands at your feet when you least expect it. Or it might show up in a way that seems ordinary to others but feels like prophecy to you. A job opening, a phone call, a person who suddenly shows up with the very thing you lacked. And that's the beauty of divine delivery. It always looks casual to the untrained eye. But to the chosen ones, it's electric. It's undeniable. It's confirmation. You see, when you've been living in the in-between for so long, even the smallest blessing feels like thunder. That's because you've trained your spirit to recognize the hand of Allah in every detail. Others may see luck, but you see design. You see how the pieces connect, how the delays were divine, how the detours were direction. You don't just feel grateful, you feel honored. Because when Allah shows up, He doesn't just give. He announces. Yes, some people will be shocked. They'll ask where this came from, how you managed to bounce back, what changed. They'll try to figure out the formula, not realizing that there is no formula when favor is written by the hand of the unseen. You didn't hustle your way here. You surrendered your way here. You grew in silence while they sought spotlight. And now, it's your time. Not because you're better, but because you were patient when it hurt the most. And here's the wild part. Your elevation isn't just about you. It's a message. A signal to others that Allah is still writing stories in the dark. That the forgotten can be remembered. That the overlooked can be lifted. That the doubted can rise. And you? You're the proof. Not just of breakthrough, but of divine justice. Because Allah never lets mockery go unchecked forever. He doesn't always respond in words. But when He responds in action, it echoes louder than any insult ever thrown your way. Let them be shocked. Let them wonder. Let them ask how. But don't waste your energy explaining. When you're chosen, your life becomes the explanation. And when the blessing hits, it's not your job to justify it. It's your job to carry it with humility. So don't gloat. Don't turn around to prove a point. Just walk forward, confident, grateful, certain that what just appeared was never random. It was reserved. Reserved for the exact moment when you could handle it. The exact Friday morning when your spirit would be calm enough to receive it. You're not lucky, you're aligned. You're not suddenly favored. You've been favored. It's just now visible. And the doubters? They were part of the plan too. They helped sharpen your silence. They gave your patience a purpose. And now, they're watching as everything they said wouldn't happen is happening. But you're not shocked. You're just stepping into what you already knew was coming. Now that it's here, or on the edge of arriving, what will you do with it? This is the part no one talks about. Everyone prays for the moment of arrival, but few are ready for the weight of it. Blessings don't just decorate your life. They shift your responsibilities, your posture, your silence. When the manifestation comes, it doesn't just elevate you, it demands that you walk differently. You can't carry answered prayers the same way you carried waiting seasons. They come with new expectations. And that's where wisdom steps in. This is not the time to let your emotions run wild or feed your ego. The ones who doubted you will already be rattled by what Allah has done. You don't need to prove anything. This blessing is not a clapback. It's not a mic drop. It's not a headline for your pride. It's a sacred trust. You didn't wait all this time just to turn around and flex. You waited to be entrusted. And now that Allah has revealed it, He's also watching how you handle it. So here you are, standing at the edge of something that once felt so far. You've carried the silence. You've endured the doubt. You've outlived the lies. And now, you're breathing the air of a moment that's not only long awaited, but deeply earned. Not because you were perfect, not because you never stumbled, but because you kept going when everything around you begged you to quit. That's what made you ready. That's what made you different. You didn't chase the spotlight. You chased sincerity. You didn't ask for applause. You asked for alignment. And because of that, what's appearing on your path isn't a reward. It's a reflection of the quiet work you've done with your Lord. The kind of work no one saw. The conversations in the dark. The tears on the pillow. The prayers whispered with shaky faith but solid hope. All of it counted. All of it was seen. This is your season of visibility. Not for vanity, but for divine fulfillment. Because Allah never writes a promise He doesn't intend to keep. And now, it's unfolding in front of you. On a Friday morning, when hearts are softer, when mercy pours heavier, when destinies are realigned in silence. But let's get something clear. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of a new chapter, a new test, a new level of gratitude, wisdom, and humility. The weight of favor is real, but you've been prepared to carry it. So walk forward with reverence, move with caution, speak with care, live with meaning, and above all, never forget who brought you here. Because the same Allah who let the silence stretch is the one who just spoke through your breakthrough. You may feel the urge to scream, to post, to celebrate loudly. And that's okay. But the real celebration, it happens in your heart. It's when you look in the mirror and say, I waited, and it was worth it. It's when you bow your head in sujood, not to ask, but just to say thank you. It's when you realize you never really lacked anything. You were just being preserved for something better. And if the blessing hasn't yet arrived, don't panic. Maybe this message came as a warning, a preparation, a reminder that your Friday is still on its way. And when it comes, it'll come with the same weight, the same power, and the same justice. Because Allah's timing may vary, but His promises never change. Now, as I promised at the start, let me pray for you. O Allah, the turner of hearts, the opener of doors, the listener to every silent tear. I ask you now, on behalf of the one hearing these words, reward their patience, relieve their heart, heal the places no one sees, elevate them beyond what they imagined. Let Friday bring a sign they cannot deny, a moment that shakes their soul awake. Let their doubters become silent. Let their journey become testimony. Let their life reflect your wisdom and mercy. Place barakah in their steps, light in their chest, and clarity in their decisions. And if this is not their Friday yet, then prepare them so well that when it comes, they will be ready to carry it with grace. Ameen. And now, step forward. Your moment is no longer coming. It's here.